I truly believe that us humans have all the intelligence. So the AI has more than knowledge. So we shouldn't offload our intelligence to the AI. So as you're saying, I think both engineers and any type of function in a startup in a year are going to work with multiple agents, like AI agents running in the background. And and each person will be need to have the skills of steering these agents and providing, I'd say, taste and quality and critical thinking and like real intelligence, real empathy into the systems. So what I think is important and what we're trying to do as much as possible is kind of free up the individual human to be more human with these systems. And that being more human is being more creative, more empathetic, all of these things that are like pretended with AI. I don't think we should offload those ways of making decisions to AI at all. For if we look at just software engineering, definitely, the products have really accelerated in quality. So the AI agents, in my opinion, can handle more and more complex code bases, but you want to steer them so you're not getting random results. Like another principle for me that probably I think the message out there is not quite right is just this idea of just pumping as much information and data into a system and making a gigantic prompt. And then like for me, it's the complete wrong way of thinking about this. I actually think you want to really, really, really create systems that structure your prompt so you're guiding all the mini decisions. So basically, the way I see it, every human being in a startup has like hundreds of rules and ways to make decisions in their head. And it's about taking those and putting that into a system, which I like Claude Code for that, with markdown files, where you take all your rules and you put them in so that you can fully steer the AI, the LLM, to get the results that you want. So for coding, that's exactly what type of languages you're using, of course, but also how do you make decisions, how are things structured. So all the context that you actually have in your head, if you get that out and you look at it, it's like an extended brain. You take your brain out, all these rules, and you look at what's there, and then you're constantly improving on that. Like that, you can steer high quality outputs from the LLMs. Then both when you're just doing kind of chatting with a co-piloting with an LLM or AI, but also when you are steering an agent. So it's fully guided on all the stuff that you kind of have in your head. So you can focus on improving those rules instead of trying to remember them and then codify them, right? So you see the outcome, what is being generated of code is that ultimately should be better than what you can do yourself. Because normally you can't remember all this stuff. But if you're actually codifying that, you can expand how much you're kind of guiding the outcome. And so for me, that's maybe it's a bit abstract, complex without showing you examples of it. Then you can get really high quality results. And ultimately, I'm already now with the belief that no matter how experienced and great programmer you are, if you use these systems right, then you can get a much better and much faster, of course, outputs that you could do just coding yourself. So this is where we
Right.
are now, and it's going to improve. So let's think about that. So it's really, I think it's critical that we think about how we build systems where we are the human steering this stuff, that we are inputting our empathy into decisions, that we are the quality, we are the taste. We think about other people instead of just leaving that to AIs. One of the principles also that like we shouldn't really ask for advice from an AI. I think it's a very bad idea. We know what's best for ourselves, right? But what we can really use AI for is to synthesize information for us so that we can make much higher quality decisions than we used to be able to do. Sometimes, of
Right.
course, we take an example of your health or something that you might say, what are these 10 resources that I think are trustful people out there say about this particular thing? And then you can get a resume to that, but then ultimately you're making that decision on, well, for my health, I think that this is right. So this is the leap forward, that we can access the knowledge, but we're just expanding our own intelligence, and we can do that in many fields now, from programming to marketing to sales to our health, all of these things, and create great results with it.